Well, severe weather has moved through the Northeast, and it's going to be making its exit in the next few hours, and then we can march right into Independence Day with sunshine and low humidity. That'll probably linger into Saturday, the low humidity part, before it comes up a bit on Sunday. But all in all, about as nice a 3 day holiday weekend as you can imagine. But you don't have to imagine the fact that Joe and I are here tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Do your Amazon shopping by using our referral link to get you there.
15 minutes of
Amazon throws
commercial.
us back a little bit of coin for sending you there, and it doesn't cost you a dime. It's an easy way to support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast because if you do, then we don't have to run commercial ads during the live stream. So we thank those of you who have done your Amazon shopping via our referral link. And that link, by the way, is pinned to the top of the chat board, and it's on the descriptor to this podcast under the title on YouTube. And right underneath that is the link to Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. And if you use the coupon code SUMMER2025, you will get,
You'll get 10% off.
and that's not too shabby.
No, it
Oh,
isn't.
no, it's not. I'm Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of trying to straighten something out. So, I do have a video to show, and this is from a friend of mine, Derek Wood, who lives up in Northeast Pennsylvania, not too far from I-81, actually. And they had, now why is it not showing? Hold on a second. Um, oh, I see what I did. Okay, never mind. Uh, So when the thunderstorms rolled through there, we talked yesterday, Joe, about nasty. Some of these were going to be nasty. This is what he had, and he drove
Ever
through.
seen snow on the ground in July?
I mean, that looks to me like it's every bit of 2 or 3 inches or more of hail.
Crazy.
Very impressive.
Well, as I said yesterday, this is a pattern. The kind of pattern we were looking at for this afternoon is more apropos for late March or April. And one of the things that sometimes happens when you get this cool pool of air passing over the Northeast is you do get what forecasters in the zone call hailers. And in other words, you tend to get, pea to dime-sized hail that comes down. That seems to be the main concern, and certainly what you just showed, Joe, is an obvious example of a significant fall of hail. We did not see anything like that here in Putnam Valley, but I got to tell you, the winds were flying left and right. The trees were going back and forth, and we had, I would have to say, within a span of just about 15 or 20 minutes, we had more over something like a half an inch of rain. I'm aware that in town they're supposed to have a fireworks display tonight, and they say the display is still on, but please be extra careful because of all the trees and downed wires that are in town. So I mean,
Otherwise, otherwise, if you're not, you'll become the firework.
well, we had some flickers here. I mean, the lights flickered on and off. We lost the internet for a brief interval of time. In fact, as I came down here, I had to start the computer up because it went off during one of those brief power outages. But we're still in business. The worst is over, as we will see in a few moments on the radar. But yeah, it was a pretty significant area of showers and storms that moved through generally between 5:30 and 6:30 tonight.
Diamante Roberson, thank you for hitting the tip jar on this day before the 4th of July. Welcome to everybody tonight on the chat board. And to those of you watching in the background ahead of the holiday weekend, welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Normally we're here Sunday through Thursday. We were here on those days this week, but we will be off this coming Sunday. So after tonight, we're taking a 3 day weekend and we'll see everybody back on Monday. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, hit the like button. So Joe's got the radars. There's still some stuff going on. The one thing I did notice is that there were several severe thunderstorm warnings up in eastern Connecticut. Those have expired. There is one flash flood warning that's left up, and it lies between along routes and north of Route 78, between Allentown and northern Hunterdon County in New Jersey. But the rain is, for the most part, coming to an end from west to east in that. So that flash flood watch will expire before too long. Anyway, have at it, Mr. Rayo.
Okay, well, I hope this works because if for whatever reason I'm getting an indication that the internet signal is a little slow now. That could be because of all of what we went through earlier. So here is the Upton radar, and you can see that we had that very significant line of showers and thunderstorms that came on through. Again, generally speaking, between 5:30 and 6:30 tonight, as the final frame of the loop, you can see that where I am, and for much of the Hudson Valley, lower Hudson Valley, we're pretty well done with this now. There is a moderate line of showers down across central New Jersey, or maybe you want to call it north central New Jersey, kind of grazing Staten Island. Somebody on the chat board said Staten Island got hit pretty hard with some of this activity, but again, it looks like that now is moving off just to the south of the immediate New York area, and lots of leftover precipitation over central and eastern sections of Connecticut and on into Rhode Island. And checking out the last few frames of the loop, central and eastern Massachusetts. So again, if you live in the New York metropolitan area, the immediate New York metro area, I would have to say that if it's not over, it will very soon be over. The worst of it is over. I will say this. I stepped outside a little while ago, and I was outside at 4:30, 5 o'clock. It was sultry, kind of steamy out there. We had temperatures in the 80s, and the dew point temperatures were probably close to 70. I stepped outside a little while ago, Joe, maybe about 45 minutes ago, and man, it is much cooler out there. It's down to, at least over here locally, it's down to 63 degrees, much
Oh,
cooler air
nice.
has moved in. And I told Renata, I said, let's open the windows and turn the air conditioning off, but she didn't want to do that. She said, let's wait a little while longer. So I said, yeah, okay, let's wait until it's down in the 40s. But anyway, it is the difference in temperatures and humidity is certainly significant already in parts of our area. Now let's take a look at Philadelphia. You can see band of showers and embedded thunderstorms on the Philly radar. That's the line I just pointed out that was over north central New Jersey. That looks like it's going to go out to sea, and it doesn't look like Philly is going to see much of anything in the coming hours. This activity, again, sliding away to the east. I think the general speed has been on the order to the west, on the order of about 35 or 40 miles an hour. So it's a very progressive, fast-moving type of system with showers and storms. Let's go up to the northeast. Let's go up to Boston. And in Boston, they're picking up now on those heavy-duty thunderstorms and showers. But again, look how rapidly everything is moving. Sweeping across Connecticut, sweeping into Rhode Island, across central sections of Massachusetts. Here's Boston. They may get clipped by some of these showers, but it looks like the worst of it is going to be to the south of Beantown. And so I don't expect that they're going to see a terrible amount of precipitation or any kind of severe weather in the coming next hour or two. And then all of that will again pass off to the east of Boston, and that'll be it for them. Going further south and west, let's look at Virginia. Well, Virginia, Roanoke, not showing anything really. Let's go to
Florida.
well, all right, let's go to Florida. This is Norfolk, and you can see nothing on the Norfolk radar. Yeah, Florida is going to be pretty well loaded. Unfortunately for the upcoming 4th of July, Independence Day holiday, tomorrow through Sunday. It looks like if you're down in the Sunshine State, you're probably going to be seeing a lot more in the way of raindrops than sunshine. There's a line of heavy duty showers and storms. This is from the Melbourne radar, extending from northwest to southeast into the Melbourne area, and then offshore. If we go further south, let's go down to Miami, and you can see that there's quite a bit of activity. Here's Lake Okeechobee. The activity here moving from west to east across the region. Miami itself doesn't look like it's in the line of fire, but I'm sure that over the weekend there will be periods of showers and scattered thunderstorms affecting them. Let's go up to northern Florida, see around Jacksonville, and there are some clusters of showers and embedded thunderstorms. Interesting, the thunderstorms in Florida are moving every which way. In Miami, they seem to be moving west to east. Here in the Jacksonville area, it looks like they're moving from north to south. And let's check out the panhandle of
Could
Florida.
there be a circulation forming off the Florida East Coast? Not impossible.
No, not indeed. The panhandle has some activity to the east, to their east, but from Tallahassee and points west, it's pretty well dry. One more shot. This one will be from, let's go to Charleston, South Carolina. And you can see, yeah, here the showers and storms are moving again from northeast to southwest. So,
Yeah, and
yeah,
by the way, if you look on the right, if you look on the far right, there's some echoes that pop up there, and those are
right,
moving those are moving south to north. So there's definitely a broad low pressure area that's beginning to form there.
right. And we spoke about this on the tropical outlook that they're keeping an eye on this over the next day or two, and we'll see how this all pans out. But right now, again, for our area here in the tri state, as you pointed out, Joe, this is going to be about as good a weather pattern as you could possibly ask for a holiday weekend, which officially I get kicks off tomorrow.
Right. And there's nothing in the forecast through Sunday.
Right, there's
And
nothing.
maybe even through Monday.
The only thing that's going to change between now and Sunday or Monday is that after we bottom out with comfortable humidities tomorrow, they'll come up a little bit on Saturday. More noticeable rise in both temperature and humidity on Sunday and Monday. It's back. We go to the summery, sultry weather game with probably temperatures at or above 90 in many locations, but still doesn't look like there's going to be much of anything precipitation wise, even for the start of next week.
And since we were talking about what's going on over Florida, we have the 8 o'clock tropical weather outlook from the Hurricane Center. And they describe this as disorganized showers and thunderstorms, which I think is fair, across the Florida Peninsula east of the adjacent waters of the Southwest Atlantic Ocean, associated with a weak surface trough of low pressure. Environmental conditions are forecast to become more conducive for development, and a tropical or subtropical depression could form in this region over the weekend while the system drifts north or northeastward. Regardless of development, heavy rain is possible across portions of western and central and southwestern Florida through early Saturday. An Air Force reconnaissance aircraft is scheduled to investigate the system on Friday if necessary. Also, rain for air will occur also across coastal sections of the Carolinas beginning later on Saturday. So there's the X. It's a 40% chance in the next 48 hours and a 60% chance over the next 7 days. So obviously, we're talking about a 70% chance, or a 60% chance that we could see something develop outside of the 48-hour period takes us to Saturday night. So anytime after Saturday night, the probabilities do go up. And I just want to show you, at least from the standpoint of what the European is doing, and the GFS has got something similar, but we do have a surface low forecast to form later Friday and Friday night off the Florida East Coast. And you see it there. And then at that point, there's not a whole lot of rain that's going on the west side. It's all on the east side. And that is going to lift up toward the toward coastal South and North Carolina. And you can see the closed isobar just kind of meanders north northeast, uh, just inland of the coast. by the time we get to Sunday afternoon and evening. But there could be there's some room for error here, that you wind up with a low that develops a little faster, perhaps. Maybe this gets to be a TD, maybe even a low end tropical storm. But it doesn't. We're not in a situation here where um, we're going to get something to develop in a big way. I think the one thing to just pay attention to, I guess, as we go into Monday and Tuesday, is if we do have this southern moisture that's creeping northward, and the European does actually bring some showers to the coast on Monday. So that's whatever is left over from that subtropical system or tropical system that develops. So that's something we'll probably have to keep an eye on with respect to whether that moisture, some of that moisture, uh, decides to move northward. And when we look at the upper air, by the way, it's underneath. There's a closed upper low that's off the Florida East Coast. It's been there most of this week. And the real flow in the atmosphere is up in upstate New York and into Canada. You see where the height lines are going from west to east. So that's where you get your westerlies. Eventually, we do have a ridge that develops off between Bermuda and the Carolina coast. So it's likely that anything that's out there is going to try to ride around that, and yeah, maybe some of that moisture does wind up riding up the coast by the time we get to Monday. We'll just have to see. And then eventually the upper winds do go westerly, so it would turn, get so far north and then turn away to the east. So that's what that model
And we
is
mentioned
is doing.
and we mentioned yesterday that that this would be, if it does develop into a tropical system that garners a name, it'll be the sea storm and will be Chantel. And I should point out that Andrea, Barry, and potentially Chantel don't really, or didn't really have not amounted to a hill of beans, so to speak, meteorologically. I mean, we may have this, when you look back on this particular tropical storm or hurricane season, yeah, they are promoting an above normal year in terms of the number of storms. But you get 17, 18 storms. If they're cheaply of this caliber, and I doubt that's going to be the case when we get to September, because by then, with the ocean waters much warmer, we tend to get tropical systems that are more mature, and they tend to really blow up into significant systems. But you look at the numbers, the sheer numbers, and early in the game, if we keep getting storms like this, it ain't, as I said, it ain't going to be a big deal, because Andrea lasted what, all of one day.
Not
Barry was
even.
Barry was similar. Chantel, we're questioning whether or not it might make it to tropical storm status. I mean, these are not storms that are going to go down in the weather annals as memorable storms. But again, as we progress now through the season, we'll see how these all play out. But these first few storms of the season really, again, aren't anything to write home about.
David Fuller, thanks for hitting Super Chat tonight. As the radar showing, most of the storms are starting to move away. And Robert Lomnicki, thank you for hitting the tip jar. Most appreciated. And a happy 4th of July to you, too. Not too much on the watches and warnings map. The severe thunderstorm watch is being whittled away to just a handful of counties in Rhode Island and in southeastern Massachusetts, and that's about it. We still have flash flood watches and some flash flood warnings in southwest Texas and in a couple of counties in western Idaho. Otherwise, just some heat advisories in northern Minnesota and in South Dakota, northwest Wisconsin, eastern Montana. Not much else, and nothing in the way of flash flooding is being indicated in the state of Florida. Now, I've been trying to get the GOES to come up, the GOES satellite loop. But for some reason, it has been down for the last half hour or so. Here's a wide view of the radar. I'll give it a quick refresh here. And the again, what's left of these thunderstorms, the stronger ones, they're moving into out of Rhode Island and into southeast Mass. There's also some stronger cells running west to east between Route 195 and Route 78 in New Jersey. We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings up, but there are some cells with some heavy rains, and they're going to continue to move eastward before headed offshore, probably after 9 o'clock or so I would think the bulk of this is going to be done. And meanwhile, in the West, I mean, you've got showery rains continuing across Texas and into Louisiana. They run up and down the Rockies, up and down I-25 with some showers and thunderstorms, and also in parts of Arizona, particularly northern Arizona, back to northern Nevada, into Idaho, and even up into northern California. A little bit unusual because it's usually dry time there this time of year. The Storm Prediction Center tonight has a fairly large area of general thunderstorm risk. We have a slight risk across North Dakota and a small portion of southeast Montana and northwest South Dakota. The severe thunderstorm watch boxes, as I said, they're fading away. So basically north and west inland areas, everybody's done. So with regards to these thunderstorms, there's not going to be any additional development. So we're going to see that slight risk and that marginal risk gradually disappear. And over the next 2 days, marginal risk tomorrow runs from western Kansas northward up into Minnesota and the Dakotas. And that comes with a small area of 2% tornado risk up in eastern North Dakota and Minnesota. Day 3, which is Saturday into Sunday, we have a marginal risk in the western plains. We have a marginal risk in the upper Mississippi River Valley to the western lakes. Nothing in the east for tomorrow or for Saturday, and also for Sunday. And as far as rainfall is concerned, now this is rainfall forecast beginning at 8 o'clock tonight. So much of this is not front end loaded. So this is going to take us through next Thursday night. So this is from shower and thunderstorm activity that we'll probably get into later next week. But you can see some heavier rains in eastern North Carolina and southeast Virginia. That's from that potential tropical system that may or may not do anything. And also a couple of more inches of rain being indicated for much of the state of Florida, a little less on the panhandle, 1.5 inch plus amounts up in the northern plains and in the western lakes, and not a whole lot going on in the immediate west. So, Joe, it's a pretty easy, straightforward forecast, except for the one question is whether some of that tropical moisture winds up oozing its way up the coast for Monday. Because a lot of folks I'm guarantee you, a lot of folks did a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday 4-day weekend. Okay.
Oh, I'm sure.
Even though it's technically tomorrow's is the federal holiday for
Well,
Independence Day.
I just told you that here in Putnam Valley, here in my town, they're having a fireworks display scheduled at 9 o'clock tonight. And I said, with all of the problems that have already ensued with, power lines down, trees down in some areas, and of course it's wet. People are going to go to the town park. They hope they bring along a chair because I'm sure the grass is going to be very wet. And I said to her, well, why don't they just cancel it? They'll wait until Saturday. Oh, it's not so easy. You can't do something like that. They probably have things already planned. And I'm saying to myself, you mean to tell me that if you're going to plan this fireworks display, you don't have like a rain check or another night that you might want to do it in case the weather doesn't. So, I mean, like tonight here in our town, my town, they still have scheduled a big fireworks display. It's not officially the holiday yet. It's Thursday, but they're going to have it tonight, July the 3rd, and then tomorrow, their 4th of July, I guess people will be watching the displays down in Manhattan, or, if they have their own little stash of fireworks, they'll probably be shooting it off in their backyard or whatever. And then the weekend, I'm sure that a lot of places are going to have weekend fireworks displays as well. All will go unhindered because, as Joe just mentioned, and I'm mentioning again, this looks like a great weekend, dry weekend, no precipitation, very comfortable tomorrow and even on into Saturday, then turning hotter and more humid for Sunday. Monday, Joe has again mentioned the question mark whether or not we'll get moisture from whatever that tropical system is down south. If it works its way up the coast, it may throw a few showers away, but then again, it may not. So we'll just see. But overall, the weather pattern looks pretty darn nice. And by the way, Joe, on this day, 1966, it was a Sunday, July the 3rd. Today's high was 103 at Central Park. That's in 1966. A record for the date was also the hottest Central Park reading, going all the way back to August 26, 1948, which also had a high of 103 degrees. Fortunately, in 1966, to go along with that 103, the air was dry with relative humidity at the midpoint of the day or midpoint of the afternoon only, he says, in the 25 to 30% range. This was also the day in 1966 where at LaGuardia Airport they hit 107. That's the hottest temperature ever recorded officially within the confines of New York City, 5 boroughs. But if you look at the weather records and see what they are listing as the all-time high temperature in New York, it's the 106 at Central Park that was set back in 1936, not the 107 that was set on this day at LaGuardia Airport in 1966.
So meanwhile, we get this nice dry push tonight and Friday, and dry on Saturday, dry on Sunday. Uh, everybody, for the most part, everybody from the Mississippi River east, except for maybe up in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, and those areas with some showers and thunderstorms and perhaps some severe weather Saturday night. Uh, that's where most of the action is. And again, the big question is going to be just keeping an eye on this stuff off the Florida coast. If it finds some of that moisture finds its way northward, that would be the one fly in the ointment with regards to maybe Sunday night and Monday. We'll see. But for now, we'll just stay optimistic on this. And then as we look on to next week, the one thing I noticed that there's a front approaching on Tuesday that kind of goes through um, Monday night and Tuesday. It sort of goes through, and then we get into a flow by the later next week that's decidedly more northeast and east, which is a little weird, but it can happen, of course. In fact, there's a low on the European that forms in the lower Mississippi Valley and then heads east across Virginia. You see it there and moving out to the south. So kind of implies that, the first half of the week will probably be on the warm and humid side, but um, later next week we may get into more of an east wind, and that might keep temperatures a bit lower than you would otherwise think. But that's something that we'll have to deal with when we get there. And that's pretty much covers it. Do you have
Yeah, there's
plans?
one other thing. I mentioned the heat from 1966 on this day,
Mm,
but in 1930 it was a Thursday, and this is according to Rob Friedowitz, who is really the man or the guy to consult with for historic weather events in New York City. And he points out that on this day in 1930, and I'm sure that all of us, have seen torrential downpours, tremendous amounts of rain. I mean, like where I live today, in a matter of something like 10 minutes, we had about a half an inch of rain, and the rain was really pouring down so hard. And even Renato was looking out the window saying, "Oh my God, look at that! Unbelievable!" Well, in perhaps the most torrential downpour in Central Park history, on this day in 1930, there was an evening thunderstorm. Now, get this now, try to imagine this: 2.11 inches of rain in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, over 2 inches of rain. That means that in a half an hour it was 4.2, and in an hour it was so it was raining over a time span of 50 minutes. It was raining at the rate of like 8 inches in 1 hour at Central Park, and they did record in a half an hour 2.75 inches. A typical year before 1930 averaged 4 months with less than this 30-minute amount. In the course of the storm, the temperature dropped from the upper 70s to the lower 60s, and he even includes on his website a headline from the New York Times: "Cloudburst floods city, crippling transit lines, thousands are marooned, a foot of water on subways, holiday travel from the Grand Central held up more than an hour." So, we often hear about how hot it gets. We don't often hear about, you know, events such as this where you have torrential downpour. But this, as he points out, Rob Friedowitz points out, this might be the most torrential downpour in the history of Central Park. Again, over 2 inches in less than 15 minutes. Unbelievable.
that's a lot.
Yes.
Claudia Double M on the chat board watching from Arizona. Welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And yeah, so we do cover weather that's going on in other parts of the country especially when it's very active. And I did, was showing the radar before that you've got, still quite a bit of shower activity going on throughout much of your state. I'll just give it another quick look, especially the northern part of the state. I'm going to guess it's mostly, and also in the southeastern part, just looking at the radar. But because you're new to the show, I will give you that view right now, as we aim to please here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which is on Sunday through Thursday at 7:35. Except we're not going to be on this Sunday. But there you can see these are, patchy areas of showers. There's actually some heavy downpours and a few thunderstorms. I did notice that there was actually couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in the state in the last couple of hours. And you're still getting this sort of, I don't know if it's the monsoonal flow or it's, you get these tropical storms that have been in the Pacific that have kind of straddled their ways up just off the coast. And as they die off, the moisture has been being pushed northward into New Mexico and into Arizona, and even some of that moisture finding its way up north into the central and northern Rockies. So, and there's another tropical system that's about to develop in the Pacific too that may eventually add some more moisture to the mix. So, you guys getting a little bit of rain in an unusual time of year, but welcome to the show. I hope you come back. Um, I got no plans for the weekend, and that's on purpose.
Well, we
So,
have my daughter is celebrating her birthday on Saturday, so we will have a bit of a party here tomorrow to combine with the Independence Day festivities, and I'll have my sister here as well. And as I said, her birthday is on Saturday, and things will calm down a bit, I guess, later on in the weekend for us here. And then early next week, I think it was on Tuesday, I'll be driving my son, daughter-in-law, and his in-laws, along with my grandson, to JFK Airport. They're going to be spending a couple of weeks in Hawaii.
oh,
So,
nice.
so it'll be nice. I said, it'll be interesting for them because my grandson is 17 months old. Any child under the age of 2, and I'm sure Lucy Ricardo's aware of this. You could bring them on board, but you got to have them in your lap. You could buy them a ticket, but if you carry them on your lap, the baby can come for free. But I said, it's one thing to go on a plane flight that's like 2-3 hours long. This is nonstop from New York JFK to Honolulu.
It's a
That's
long flight.
9 hours.
Yeah. Make sure
Nine
you walk
hours.
around.
Well, I make sure the baby will walk around.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to get a report from them when they come back. But I saw my grandson. In fact, he came for a visit to jump in the pool this afternoon. And I looked at him. I said, "How come you're only 17 months old and Pop Pop didn't get a chance to get on a plane until he was 10 years old? And he didn't go to Hawaii until he was 34. And here you're getting a chance to see." And he's looking at me like,
Yeah.
what? There'll be
Exactly.
no there'll be no memory of this, I'm sure, later in life. But what the heck?
All right. You won't, but let's not scar the child. Okay.
Yes.
All right, everybody. I hope everyone has a great 4th of July holiday weekend. We'll be back on Monday at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Un- Unless something really weird happens, the system in the off the Florida coast winds up developing into something more important, which doesn't appear to be the case, but we'll see how it plays. Otherwise, we'll see you next Monday night. Happy 4th.
No, we won't see you next Sunday night.
No, Monday night. Next Monday
Monday
night.
night.
Monday night.
Yes. Yes. Goodbye.
Bye.